Hello everybody, this is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. Well, the hits just keep on coming. I've been talking to you the last few episodes about the heat and about my watering issues and just trying to keep my plants alive. And yesterday I was standing out here in Richard's garden because I had to hand water all these watermelons. And I came out here this morning and found one of my watermelons detached from, no, it was still attached to the vine, but half of it was eaten off. The whole top half was eaten off. Well, rabbits don't do that. I've been kind of noticing some scat around these, all around this garden, just all of a sudden piles and piles of it. And I'm going to actually show that to y'all in a second because where did that melon go that was eaten? I think it came back and got it. My husband and I just had to leave because I had to run to the store and get something. And I was letting the sprinkler run out here. And I just came back to come out here and move the sprinkler. And now that half of eaten melon is gone. I must have interrupted whatever was eating it a while ago when I walked up. No, I'm sorry. I see it over here. All right, let me show this to you real quick. This is what I found here this morning, but this is not why I'm upset. In a minute, I'm going to show you what I found just now when I took a little walk around the garden. I'm going to show you what I found, and that's what upsets me. But right now, let me show you this watermelon. Okay, I'm sorry. Here it is. This is what I walked up on earlier when I was here. A half-eaten Wilson Sweet watermelon. And I'm thinking, what would like that more than a raccoon? It could be a raccoon. We do have foxes in this area. Some little foxes. They have babies every now and then. They run across the road at night when you're coming home. So we do have foxes. It could be that as well. But that's what I found a while ago. So I was like, oh no, I've got a varmint that's all of a sudden discovered my watermelon patch. And my first thought was, oh no, because that melon actually looks pretty much done. The red is close to the rind and everything. Yesterday I harvested one because the tendril was all dried up and brown and dead. And I brought it into my house and said, let me just cut it because I don't want to give one to anybody and have them not be ready. So I cut it yesterday and it was not ready. It was nowhere near ready, even though the tendril had dried up. I use that as my main gauge. I didn't think they would be ready yet, but that's one of my main gauges, and it had a yellow underbelly, so I thought, well, it's ready. But I think the tendril just dried up in this heat, I guess. I don't know. The watermelon was not ready. So, but that one, of course, you know, the raccoon, I guess, knows how to pick out the best one. So he picked out one that was ready to eat. But I just moved my water hose and I was going to go back to my house and cut the water on. And I said, let me just walk to the other side of my garden and see what's over here. And I'm so upset with what I found. My Fordhook Gem cantaloupes, which y'all know I've been looking forward to. I've talked about them 2 or 3 times on the videos. I've showed you how beautiful they were. They're a green flesh cantaloupe. And I walked over here, and the vines look terrible, but everything around here looks terrible right now. They look crunchy and dried up. But I was going to water them next. But then I found this. One of the small cantaloupes just laying in the middle of the aisle. And I was like, oh no. I knew something got in it. And then I started looking around. And let me show you what I found. It's terrible. This little patch looked like it had been scavenged, but everything seemed to be attached. I haven't checked every melon yet, but they all seem to be attached. So I just kept on walking. I thought that little patch looked a little weird too, but I kept on walking. And then I got to this patch, and it definitely looked very odd. And then I saw this melon laying over here by itself, and I had just found this other one laying by itself. I was like, oh no. And then look what I walked up on. all those melons. All the vines are broke. They're out of the ground. It's like all these melons were being thrown over here to stack them, to stash them up for something to come back later and get them. That's all my beautiful Fordhook Gem melons. And they're done. I'm going to grab them up, and I'm going to really tick off a raccoon, and I'm taking them back up to my house, because if I can cut some of them and just see if they're in any way, shape, or form edible, I'll do that. They only get about 6 inches by 5 inches, so they're close, but I don't know that they're ready. I was not in a frame of mind to think they were ready to be picked. But I'm going to take them, because I'll be darned if I'm going to leave them out here for that thing to come back tonight and get them. Of course, what he's going to do is he's just going to run over there and eat all my watermelons. All right. I'm standing out here again today. This is a different garden. It's across the beach. My house is back there. My other garden where I was yesterday was over there. I'm in a different garden, and I'm dealing with a different issue. I'm quiet right now. I get quiet when I'm in shock. I'm quiet right now because, you know, everybody's telling you to grow things right now and to prep and to get your gardens going and to learn how to grow and everything else. And I agree. I've been a proponent of that. Before I was on YouTube, I had a Prep Food Now account on Twitter. It's still there. I just can't get to it because Twitter locked me out of my accounts. But I've been on this stump for 2 years at least now, 2.5 years, begging people to put back food and things like that. I don't say that as much on this YouTube account as I did on Twitter, but I'm showing you by action on this account how to do it. I'm showing you by action. However, this is a reality of it. This is a reality. You might walk out to your garden one day and you've lost every cantaloupe that you were planning on having for at least a few weeks to a month or two worth to feed your family. My husband has been eating cantaloupe every morning. That's just something he's wanting. It's working good with his nutrition, his digestive system. He's been wanting a little cantaloupe every morning with his breakfast. So I've been having to buy them from the store. And they cost like $4.59 right now where I live. So every week I'm buying a $4.59 cantaloupe. Well, for the last couple of weeks, it's been wonderful because I've went and grabbed one out of my own garden over on that garden, and he's enjoyed those. He loves them. You know, he said they were juicy and everything. So I've not had to spend $4.59 the last couple of weeks for that. I was counting on these Fordhook Gems to give me some more time of not having to spend money at the store. Cantaloupe is not a necessity, but it is, you do need your vitamins and things. He's been doing this now about 3 or 4 months, and if I can get him something that he really wants for breakfast to eat with his other stuff, and that just makes his stomach feel good and everything, I'm all for that. So I put a lot of effort into trying to grow some to maybe buy us the summer and early fall of not having to buy those at the store. But it doesn't have to be your cantaloupes. This could have been your green beans. This could have been your tomatoes. I bet a raccoon would love tomatoes. How many people out there have had all their tomatoes eaten by a raccoon? Probably a lot. So I see little footprints in my dirt here. Oh, I tell you what, we've got some things in the house that could take care of this really quick. My point that I'm trying to make to you is, this is a reality of gardening. This is a reality. You could walk out one day and something you were counting on is completely annihilated by a varmint, by a hornworm, which has happened to me many times this year. It could be completely annihilated if you live in the wrong area by a predatory neighbor that's just coming to pick off your vines. It's so important to be growing and do it. But I will say, it's just as important to be going to the store right now. And go ahead and just keep laying up canned goods if you can. Keep laying up evaporated milks, sugar, flour, all of those staples that we just take for granted. Just keep laying them up and laying them up and laying them up. They might end up being all you have. If you're giving it your best shot, but you're just not doing great at gardening, or your weather goes crazy, you might not have any of this fresh stuff. Keep going. Keep learning everything you can. Keep saving seeds. Keep trying. Keep plodding through. And I'm going to plod through too. But it cannot be all you're dependent on. It cannot be that. Please keep stocking up. Please keep canning. Just keep going. But just know that not everything's an Instagram photo. Not everything comes out the way you want it. I've done garden tours. I've shown you little by little as things were growing. But the harvest videos have been harder than I thought. I would love to show you some kind of bucolic situation where I'm walking around with just baskets going through my beautiful gardens, throwing things in my baskets. But instead, I'm looking at this. Little footprints everywhere. All kind of little footprints. Their little booty. They were saving this for booty to come back later. Oh man. And I noticed too, whatever it is, wanted to eat all the leaves off of my bean plants. I was just here yesterday going through all these bean plants to see if I could find pods that had seeds on them. I was just here yesterday. These bean plants are stripped. They're stripped. This watermelon that I just showed y'all on film the other day that was hiding up in these beans is now out in the wide open with just a little bit of bean around it. But I tell you what, he's probably decided he's coming back to get that big old melon. But look at all these bean plants. Look at all of them. Stripped. Stripped. Is this deer? I mean, you know, could be deer. Do deer eat watermelon? Yes, probably so. But do deer stack up cantaloupes in a pile like they're going to come back and get them later? I don't know about that. Here's the scat that I'm finding everywhere, all around my garden, all throughout my corn. Big old pile of it there. A big old pile. At first, you know, I'm just thinking that's rabbit scat, because we do have rabbits everywhere. They haven't been messing with my garden too much this year. More of it there. Big old pile there. The rabbits live across the road in all of that brush. That's where they live. Please let me know what you think about the scat, and let me know what you think about the carnage in my Fordhook Gem cantaloupes. I'm not an experienced tracker. I'm not an experienced person that's had to deal with a lot of varmints. I guess I've been blessed that the last couple of years I did have some rabbits kind of eat the top of my top pick cream peas and, you know, kind of nibble on a few little greenery things. But I have not had big predators come in my garden, and I haven't had things just eaten whole or destroyed. So if you could let me know about that, I'd appreciate it. And I appreciate you letting me vent again. It seems like this is Let's Help Lainey get through her gardening experience week. And I apologize for that. I'm not weak, I'm strong. I get flustered sometimes. You know, you just can't help it. When you've worked so hard and you've looked so forward to something, you just can't help it. But I want to make the point to everybody that that's what could happen to all of these gardens. So please do not put all of your faith in your garden for all of your needs during these hard times. Keep stacking other food, keep doing other things. If you do get something out of your garden like I've been doing, don't let it go to waste. Go ahead and can it. Don't leave it in your freezers very long. Just kind of always think in mind shelf stable. Get things to the shelf and make them stable as soon as possible. Well, here are all the Fordhook Gem cantaloupes. I just brought them to my house, set them on the cabinet, and I went ahead and cut a couple of them open, the biggest ones. And they look beautiful. They look beautiful. The seed cavities are all formed. They look a lot like the picture in a book that I have, but they weren't ready. You can see I cut a little bit out of that one. I cut a little bit out of another one. And I tasted it, and the flesh is just not ripe. It's going to be, it would have been in a couple of days, but it was just too firm, still kind of tasteless. It had not, the sugars had not gotten right in it, and it just wasn't ready. So this was a complete loss. I will not have one Fordhook Gem cantaloupe to try this year. That's just the way it is. Got to move on from it, but I'm going to take just a little bit, if that's okay, to mourn it a little. Well, good morning. It is Thursday morning, June 16th, and I'm back out in my melon garden that's over in Richard's garden across the beach from my house. Well, my melons look okay. They look all right. It doesn't look like anything routed them during the night, or at least I don't see any evidence of it, and all my melons seem to still be attached and where they were when I left them. But I do know something's been in here. I think it's a deer. I don't know if that's what ate that half melon yesterday. That's right over there. I don't know if it was a deer that did that. To me, that just seems like more of a raccoon or something. But the tracks I'm seeing in the ground, I'll get closer. That's one of the first tracks, which is a little indistinguishable because it went through the mud. There's another track in the mud there. There's some big tracks, and they're all in my garden. I can see them. I know it's hard to convey on film, but down here, let me keep walking. Down here, some to me are just indistinguishably deer tracks. It's got the little bump in the middle and the little pointed toes. To me, that's a deer. And I believe more right down here, like that. To me, that's not a little paw. It's not a raccoon paw. It's a deer track. And so, I'm pretty sure deer were walking around in here last night. Here's another one. Another track. So, that might be what it is. I really don't care as long as my melons on this side are okay. That still doesn't explain the stacking up of the Fordhook Gems yesterday. I don't know. That doesn't explain deer behavior that I'm familiar with. So that's all. Life goes on. Time to reevaluate and rethink. And I'm hoping and praying that they leave these melons alone and let them grow. Some of them are just about ready to be picked. And, I was really hoping to pick those and have a little harvest off of these. We shall see. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.